The other day I was speaking to a Rosh Hashiva of about 150 boys, and everybody knows how Rosh Hashiva job is very stressful. And this head of the school of 150 boys sounded so calm and so collected on the phone. And I wondered and wished I could be like that. I could be calm. How can I be calm? And how can I be relaxed and no stress, just like this Rosh Hashiva, just like this head of the school? What was the secret? So I asked him. And what he told me shocked me. He told me that there is a parsha sheet, a parsha paper, that he reads once a week. The name of the parsha sheet is called Thinking About Me by Rabbi Yosef Arhi. He said that he finds gems in this parsha sheet that keeps him calm throughout the week. I realized that it is easier to write my ideas than to live them, to be them. I'm actually writing my ideas to myself and thinking about me, and then I take those ideas and share them with the world. But sometimes I get so busy sharing them, I forget to internalize and implement them, to actually be thinking about me. Shlomo Carlebach once said that in the city of Kelm, they don't ask how many mitzvot you did. Rather, they ask that if you did the mitzvah, did you do it with your whole heart? Many times in life, you're too busy doing. You cannot be busy connecting. Sometimes by doing more, you're being less. In order for you to be more, you need to do less. Sometimes because we focus so much on the quantity, we forget the quality. We focus on the doing, and therefore we forget about the being. The Ran explains an interesting episode that happens in Parashat Beha'alotcha. Aaron and Miriam were questioning Moshe's decision to keep distance from his wife Tzipporah. They were great people, and they thought that as Moshe had delegated some of his prophecy to the 70 elders, he would have more time to spend with his wife. But still, Moshe did not return to live with his wife Tzipporah. Although they were not on the same level as prophecy as Moshe, Aaron and Miriam were the greatest prophets of their generation, and they both stayed married. So why should Moshe be different? Weren't they doing prophecy just like Moshe? The mistake of these great prophets was that they did not fathom the level of Moshe's prophecy. The Ran explains that each time Aharon and Miriam prophesied, they had to undergo a transformation, a kind of personality change. Prophecy was not their nature. They were not always primed for it. They needed preparation, and that is why when God came to rebuke them, He came suddenly to speak with them. Vayomer Hashem, Pitom el Moshe ve'el Aharon ve'el Miriam. And Hashem said suddenly to Moshe, to Aharon, and to Miriam. For Moshe, this suddenness presented no difficulty, for he was always ready for prophecy. There was nothing in his body or personality that in any way conflicted prophecy. There was no change. For Aaron and Miriam, the fact that God came to them suddenly caught them unaware and unprepared. Sudden change is not good for anybody. Look at a person's eyes when you wake him up suddenly, in the middle of a deep sleep. The person is disoriented and startled. People get sick from sudden change of the weather, because sudden change is hard for everyone. Imagine sitting in the dark for a long, long time, and then suddenly your eyes are exposed to the blinding rays of the sun in its zenith on one of the hottest summer days. You could even lose your eyesight, God forbid, from the sudden adjustment that the eyes would have to make. That is what God wanted Aaron and Miriam to feel. That while they were unprepared and had to affect a change in themselves, Moshe did not need to undergo any change. Why? Because Moshe was always ready. He never needed to get ready. And because he was always ready, he could not be with his wife Tzipporah. This is for me a big lesson. In order for me to get ready to talk to God, to go from day-to-day activities to the bright light of speaking to God, I need to make myself ready. I need to be in a different zone. To give myself at least 15 minutes from the time that I put on my tefillin until Baruch Hu. Not for the sake of saying the prayers more slowly, as much as for the sake of being in the davening zone, without doing things. I need to go through the change, to be different, before I connect with God. It seems that what Aaron and Miriam thought was that they had the same level of prophecy as Moshe. They felt that they were all doing the same thing. So what is the difference? But the difference is not in the what you do. The difference was in the who you are. The Midrash tells us that Moshe's essence was a unique character. Vatiftah vatir'ehu et hayeled v'hine na'ar boche. When Batya opened the basket Moshe had been placed in on the waters of the Nile River, when he was only 3 months old, she saw a na'ar, a lad. How can a 3-month-old baby be a lad? The Midrash explains that what she saw was the essence of who this child in the basket would be in the future. The letter Nun stood for Ne'eman, reliable or trustworthy, like what God told Miriam and Aharon, that Moshe is the most Ne'eman, reliable and trustworthy in all of God's house. The letter Ayin stands for Anav. And Moshe was the most humble, the most appreciative to God of all people. Like what the Torah tells us now, that when Moshe heard what Aaron and Miriam were saying about him, he didn't take it personally, because he was the most humble of men. Va'ish Moshe Anav mikol ha'adam asher al pnei ha'adama. The letter Resh stands for Ro'eh, that Moshe would be the shepherd, the caretaker of sheep, and then, eventually, the caretaker of God's people. Moshe's 3 characteristics were those that put him in the different league he was in. And all 3 characteristics were not things he did more than Aharon and Miriam, but traits that made Moshe's essence more. This to me is a lesson. That your greatness is not about doing more, but it is about being more. So when I get stressed, I reread my own papers and stop writing new ones. God created stress to be an indicator when you may need to do less, need less, and be more. It is an indicator that you need to deal with life on a different plateau of who you are. For this, you need to take out time to become a person that is more humble and appreciative for what you have, and to become more loyal and caring to the people you love.